Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to yet another episode of the AIP podcast. I'm your host, Anne from Supercharge Lab, on behalf of the AI Partnerships Corporation. Today, we have the super impressive Rob Ulmschneider with us. He is Head of Advanced Analytics at SQA Group. And Rob believes in data and technology as vehicles for growth in all senses of the term. Financial growth, whether that means revenue or market share, performance growth through increased efficiency and reduction of error, or even personal growth in bringing communities of people together to share from all across the world. Now, SQA is a technology and advisory firm that helps companies that solve some of the world's biggest future of experience challenges by putting together advanced analytics to work. Their industry leading team of data scientists, AI experts, and business intelligence professionals introduce advanced analytic solutions to your ecosystem and allows you to improve efficiently to remain competitive in a world that completely demands innovation. So, hey Rob, it's so good to have you
Hello.
with us today.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Anne.
Absolutely. So Rob, tell me your story. Tell me how you got to be here and where you came from and how you got to be here today.
Sure. Well, I started in data about 15 years ago. My first role in tech was with a small software company, and I was actually brought on first as an account manager. But we had this large client that needed a ton of custom reporting, and we didn't have a robust reporting tool at the time. So one day, someone handed me a stack of report specs and said, "How'd you like to learn SQL?" And that was really where I fell in love with data. Of course, we've seen such an evolution since then in terms of how companies use data, and I like to think that I evolved along with the times. We went from building descriptive reporting that communicates what happened in the past to predictive reporting that forecasts what will happen in the future. I led business intelligence teams. I helped other organizations get their own BI teams off the ground. And as AI and machine learning started to become ubiquitous, we started incorporating that into what we do as well. So the teams I led moved more towards advanced analytics, which is where we find ourselves today at SQA Group, helping companies take their data maturity to the next level.
That's amazing, Rob. So tell me a little bit about SQA Group. What is that? What is the company all about, and what do you do?
Sure. So SQA Group is a tech and advisory services firm helping companies maximize what we see as two sometimes dormant business differentiators: quality and data. We help both tech and business leaders around, see around corners, stand up new capabilities, and elevate quality and data as competitive advantages that help drive towards whatever's next. We've been around for 22 years, providing consultants as a service, advisory services, and methodological approaches, including our AI Accelerator program. Now, me as head of advanced analytics, I lead our data practice, providing services to business leaders who want to leverage data more strategically.
That is so impressive. So you mentioned the AI Accelerator. Tell us more about what that is all about.
Sure. So the AI Accelerator program is one of our strategic methodologies, and it's aimed at demystifying AI for business users and uncovering use cases that might be ideal candidates for AI adoption. So it's a 6-week program, and it's designed for the team that might be ready to dip a toe in the water with AI, but they're just not sure where to start. So we do it in 4 phases, basically. First phase is we prioritize use cases. Here we conduct a design thinking workshop with the team where at the end we've produced a prioritized matrix of initiatives where AI can help drive business outcomes. The second phase is a technology and data review. We take a deeper dive into the company's current data environment and technology stack to see how ready those elements are for AI or ML adoption. In the third phase, that's what we chart the course. So here we take that earlier prioritized matrix and reassess it with the team based on what we've learned about their technology and data in that previous phase. So at this point, we start to see what's feasible in the short term and what's more of a long-term initiative, and we can begin to build an implementation roadmap. And then finally, in our last phase of the engagement, we do what's called sustaining momentum. So at this stage, we're conducting interviews with the team, including folks on both the business and technical sides, to get a feel for what kind of foundation the company has to support AI initiatives long term from a perspective of culture, structure, governance, things like that. So at the end of each phase, we produce valuable deliverables so our clients are seeing value throughout the process. It's kind of like how Agile works for delivery when we're actually implementing a solution. By the end of our 6 weeks together, the client has all of the components of an execution plan so they can start putting into place immediately some of these initiatives that they're driving towards.
Wow, that's fascinating. Well, you let's talk a little bit about the four phases and how it runs over the course of 6 weeks. You mentioned, a design thinking workshop and a road mapping exercise, as well as a lot of reviews, and that all culminates into this action plan or this execution plan. Let's deep dive into how each of these pillars work seamlessly to help your clients drive value.
Sure. So, it starts with phase one with prioritize use cases. Here we're working with business users. So these are generally not technical people. So at this point for them, it's not so much about creating the solution, but just figuring out what AI can solve in the first place. So the design thinking process, we're asking them questions like, what do you spend your time on? What do you wish you were spending more time on? What systems do you interact with? What people? And then we ask them to map out processes for us. For example, the tasks that they find most cumbersome, how do they get from start to finish? And this can help us uncover opportunities to automate or to introduce AI to help them out. Then we move on to phase two, which is the data and technology review. Here we look under the hood to see what challenges they might face putting AI solutions into practice based on their specific technical landscape. So this helps us see for them where the bodies are buried, really, from a data perspective. So this all goes into a state of the data report outlining our findings that we deliver at the end of this phase. In phase three, this is where the road mapping begins in earnest. We go back and we review that prioritized matrix from phase one, but now we have our data and our tech review findings in mind. So we can work with our clients to confirm or reject our initial placement of initiatives on that prioritized matrix. Say if we now realize that one of those is going to be more difficult than another because the data isn't quite ready, that might end up going more into the still, same impact, but maybe less feasibility. In phase four, we produce and deliver what we call a safeguarding success plan. So this takes into account those non-technical factors like structure and governance, culture, ethics, and it provides some recommendations so that the company can not only implement successfully, but gain momentum from early wins and enjoy ongoing success. So after each phase, you can see that we're providing a deliverable, whether it be the prioritized matrix in phase one, the state of the data report in phase two. They've got their roadmap in phase three, the safeguarding success plan in phase four. And at the end of the engagement, we give them an overall executive summary that helps bring together everything that they need to do to start innovating.
That's very impressive. Now, Rob, let's talk a little bit about a success story. Let's look at it from a practical use case perspective. How has the Accelerator program helped a particular client with driving impact? What was the problem? What was the solution that you built? And what was really the long-term impact that solution delivered?
Sure. So we recently worked with a team that supports the sales function at a wholesale distributor. This was sort of the classic case of we know we have some inefficiencies and AI can probably solve some of them. We're just not sure where, right? So the design thinking workshop really helped both us and the client hone in on a few things that we could help them with. many of their pains, and I think we hear this a lot, come down to constant tactical firefighting rather than being able to work towards more strategic goals. So when it came to where AI can help, we basically went down the list, and by the end of meeting one, we had some draft ideas, some items really for the roadmap already. So one of the things that came up is, can AI reduce the amount of questions that we get asked by the sales? When I say we, I mean the team gets asked by the sales team. And so our answer was yes. We can implement a conversational AI chatbot that the sales team can sort of use as a virtual assistant in the field. One of the other things that they brought up is, can AI help us not only deliver data, but help the sales team understand what it means? And we said yes, through natural language generation, we can supplement visualization with narrative storytelling. A third thing that came up was, can AI help the sales team increase their success in cross-selling? And again, yes, by enhancing segmentation through clustering, we can provide recommendations for customer-specific opportunities. So even just in the first phase, we help them uncover some things that they might have not have been thinking of as solutions that AI can help with. And then in the subsequent phases, we started to peel back some layers to say, all right, there are some things here that we can do right away. For example, when we talk about narrative storytelling, well, you've already got a BI platform in place, so it's easy to just add on top of that, some NLG tools to help generate those stories. Perhaps with the cross-selling, I think in that case, we had to deprioritize that a bit because the tech and data review revealed that there was, potentially some underlying data issues that we need to resolve before we get to the place where we're ready to actually go ahead and do that. So it paints a clearer picture of where you need to go and how you need to get there than simply sitting down and coming up with a business requirements document, right? Because we take a 360-degree view of the organization, both from a technical perspective, from a structural perspective, and see what you're going to need to do, not just on a project-by-project basis, but to sustain success overall.
Well, I guess that's really crazy because, I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is to really sit down and talk through the situation. So, well, Rob, this kudos to you for such a good job and what a great conversation. Thanks for being on the line with us today. Tell us how our listeners can find out more about the Accelerator.
Sure. Well, you can go to our website at sqagroup.com/AI-accelerator. You can also reach out to us at info@sqagroup.com to learn more, or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Always happy to have a conversation around some of the things that you have in mind that AI might solve, and whether or not we can come in and help you dip a toe in the water.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being on the line. I'm so grateful for the time we've spent here on the podcast. Let's give it up for Rob Ulmschneider of SQA Group. And once again, it's Cheng of Supercharge Lab, your host, on behalf of the AI Partnerships Corp on the AIP podcast, thanking our very faithful listeners for tuning in. Signing off once again.